Hi everyone, so this will be serve as your pre-recorded video for microbiology. So let's start with the introductory or introduction part to microbiology. Of course, this session or lesson is prepared by yours truly. Okay, so before we will go on to the discussion, let me first introduce to you guys the learning objectives for this session. Okay, the first one is to identify the different types of microorganism. Yes, the important topic in microbiology is microorganism. So we'll be knowing the different types or different kinds of it. Aside from that, we will also discuss the importance of microbiology, not only in application or not only in real life situation, but also in the importance of microbiology to the other field of sciences. And lastly is to trace the history of microbiology and its contribution. Of course, we will be knowing those persons, those scientists that work hard or work behind microbiology or work behind the discoveries in microbiology. Okay, let's start our discussion. Okay, it said that microbiology has begun, of course, with this man, so-called Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Yes, Anton van Leeuwenhoek discovered microorganism in 1675 by using his own design microscope. And by that, it actually defined the word micro. Okay, micro means very small, anything so small that it must be viewed in microscope, meaning micro cannot be seen in our naked eye. We can see micro in or by using instrument which is microscope. Literally, in science, microbiology is the study of very small living organism called microorganism or microbes. Microorganisms are said to be ubiquitous, meaning they are virtually everywhere or it can be found everywhere. Okay, so this picture will serve as will show to you the different types of microorganism. Okay, next. So let's try to answer this question. Why do we need to study microbiology? Of course, as a teacher, it is obligatory to study microbiology because it is part of our prospectus. And but at the same time, studying microbiology is very important with many reasons. One of the reason is microorganisms live on and in as known as indigenous microflora. They inhibit the growth of pathogen by, of course, occupying space, depleting food supply, secreting materials. That's why it said that microorganism can be found everywhere. So we will the very first reason why we need to study microbiology to know microorganism, to know the different kinds of microorganism, to know where microorganism can be found. It said that in everywhere that has occupying space, depleting food supply, secreting materials, we can be found uh, we can found microorganism. Next reason is opportunistic pathogen or organism that do not usually cause disease or problems. They have the potential to cause infection of in case they gain access to a part of our anatomy where they do not belong. They usually strike when a person becomes run down, stressed out, or debilitated as a result of disease or condition. So, aside from knowing where we found microorganism, we will also know what are those uh what are those let's say microorganism that is produces a disease or problem. Basically, there are opportunistic pathogen that usually strike when a person becomes run down, stressed out, or debilitated as a result of disease or condition. By that time, it causes disease or problems. Okay, take note with that. Okay, continuing with the importance or why do we need to study microbiology is organism contributes oxygen to our atmosphere or photosynthesis. Okay, so that is the reason why do we need to study microbiology. Fourth is to microorganism are involved in decomposition of dead organism and waste product of living organism like saprophytes or decomposer. Okay, let's define first What is saprophyte? It said that saprophytes are organisms that live on dead or decaying organic matter. So basically we can found microorganism everywhere. So even in the decaying organic matter, we can found microorganism. Some microorganism are capable of decomposing industrial waste. The use of microorganism on just industry is called bioremediation. Okay, always remember, please take note with this, guys, that not all microorganism is bad. There are some microorganism that is used or capable of decomposing industrial waste, and it is called bioremediation. Remediation. Okay, next. Okay, aside from that, many microorganisms are involved in the elemental cycle. So what do you mean by those elemental cycle? Of course, elemental cycle are the biogeochemical pathways. I'm sorry. Uh, Again, when we say elemental cycle, these are the biogeochemical pathways by which elements transform or move. So what are those um, biogeochemical pathways? Of course, we have carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, oxygen cycle, phosphorus cycle, and water cycle. So microorganisms are involved in the elemental cycle. Aside from that, algae and bacteria serve as food for tiny animals. What are those tiny animals? We have plankton, phytoplankton, zooplankton. Okay, take note with this, guys, ha? Plankton is a microscopic organism in the ocean. Phytoplankton is a tiny marine plant and algae. And zooplankton is the tiny marine animals. Okay, take note with that we need to study by microbiology for us to know with this, guys, with this algae, with this these different types of microorganisms, as I've said, because algae and bacteria is one of a microorganism, a type of microorganism that serve as a food for tiny animals. Okay, for the eighth reason why do we need to study microbiology is some microorganisms live in the intestinal tract of animals where they aid in digestion. Many microorganisms are essential in various food and beverages industry, while others are used to produce certain enzymes and chemicals. The use of microbes in this kind of industry is called biotechnology. As I've said, not all the time microorganism is bad. Microorganism is also essential in many various food and beverages industries. So it called with when you use a microbes in the kind of industry, it is called biotechnology. So always take note with that, guys. Okay, there are a lot of reason why do we need to study microbiology. We need to study microbiology for us to know a certain bacteria and fungi produce in antibiotics. Microbes are essential in the field of genetic engineering. Microbes have been used as cell model for many years. Microbes can cause disease that are categorized into two categories as infectious disease and microbial intoxication, which is, when we say infectious disease, it is a pathogen colonizes a person's body, or this pathogen cause a disease. When we say microbial intoxication, it is a pathogen produces a toxin in vitro. A person ingests the toxin causes a disease. Okay. Yes, so that is the reason why do we need to study microbiology. Of course, as I've said, we will be knowing the importance of microbiology in other field of sciences, or microbiology can be applied in other field of sciences. So the first one, we have agricultural microbiology. When we say agricultural microbiology, it is concerned with with the beneficial and harmful rules of microbes, in particularly in soil fertility and formation, diseases of plants, production of plants and foods, and of course in food microbiology, it is concerned with the production, processing, storage, cooking, prevention of food spoilage, and food poisoning. In dairy microbiology naman is for pasteurization process. When we say pasteurization, it is a partial sterilization of a product such as milk or wine. Always remember that pasteurization process reduces the risk of food poisoning. So in Microbiology can be applied in agricultural aspect, and that is known agricultural microbiology, which concern with the beneficial and harmful roles of microbes. Next, aside from agricultural microbiology, we also have many more. As I've said, in biotechnology, yes, microorganism helps industrial microbiology. It is concerned with the proper growth and maintenance of certain microbes to the produce of beer, wine, alcohol, and organic materials. As I've said, not all the time that microorganism is bad. Some of them some of microorganism can be helped in the industrial microbiology or in our industries. Will which is called as biotechnology if it is concerned with the proper growth and maintenance of certain microbes to produce beer and wine and alcohol or organic materials. Third one is environmental microbiology and bioremediation. As I've said, we've already mentioned bioremediation a while ago. It is concerned with the water and sewage treatment. So microorganism and also can be helped in this type of microbiology. Next one is medical and clinical microbiology. It involves the study of pathogen. Yes. Next, microbial genetics and genetic engineering. There are two divisions with that. It is divided into two. We have microbial genetics and genetic engineering. When we say microbial genetics, it involves the study of microbial DNA, chromosomes, plasmid, and genes. When we say genetic engineering, it involves the insertion of foreign genes into microorganism. Okay, this this illustration actually shows to you guys the different types of microorganism. It involves in the DNA aspect, it involves in the genetics and genetic engineering. Okay, next. Aside from that, we also have microbial physiology. It is concerned with the structure and function of microbial cell. Microbiology involves the study of ancient microbes. Parasitology involves the study of organism that lives on and in another living organism. Sanitary microbiology includes the processing and disposal of garbage and sewage waste. Veterinary microbiology involves the study of animal disease and control of the disease. So these are those practical application of microbiology in other fields. So that is why microbiology is very important, because there are a lot of reason or help with the microbiology in the other aspect of science. So this would be the reason with that to that. Okay. Next, okay, let us know the pioneers in the science of microbiology, or let us know the scientists, the persons behind, or the man behind the work in microbiology. Of course, the very first one, the very legend, Anton van Leeuwenhoek, 1632 to 1723. Of course, Anton van Leeuwenhoek or called as father of microbiology, because as I've said a while ago that Anton van Leeuwenhoek began everything in microbiology by what? By discovering the microorganism in the year of 1675. Aside from that, Anton van Leeuwenhoek first person to see the bacteria and protozoa. So what particular microorganism that Anton van Leeuwenhoek discovered? Of course, bacteria and protozoa. Later on, we will be knowing that one. He called tiny living objects in his observation as animalcules. Before he called it as a microorganism, it called animalcules. Why? Because those creation or those microorganism that he saw is actually the same with the illustration of animals. That is why he called it as animalcules. Of course, this is Anton van Leeuwenhoek, very fresh and young in that time. Next is Mr. Louis Pasteur, 1822 to 1895. Of course, Louis Pasteur has contribute a lot in microbiology. He discovered the events and alcoholic fermentation. He discovered form of life that could exist in the absence of oxygen, which is the aerobes and the anaerobes. Okay. He developed pasteurization, which is reduces the risk of poison. He discovered infectious agent causing a silkworm disease.